Yes, you read that title correctly. I'm pretty sure that's why you clicked on this video. Hi, welcome to my abode. My name is Taylor. And I'm so glad you're here. First of all, Happy New Year, Happy Black History Month, all that good stuff. You peep, you know what I'm saying? You see? Anyways, I actually miss talking to you guys. I also just want to give a fair disclaimer and now I'm Southern. I don't know what happened, but I guess I'm Southern now. I totally just did a YouTuber clickbait thing because there is reason, and I'm technically not wrong with saying I got fired from my job, but I mean, did it work? Anyways, point of this video being, over the last couple of months with me having my first job at a retail store for arts and crafts, I would just say I have went through a lot over those past months of close to the end of 2025 and to January of this year. Although I was very excited and also grateful that I had got my first job, it taught me a lot. As somebody as creative as I am and really likes a challenge, it's only but so many times you can just keep going to a place where it's not the greatest people there. You have horrible management who does very unethical things, I'd say, and the work is just the same thing. That sounds great for somebody else, but for me it just wasn't. And I have with that taken the positives from my first job, but a lot had went on behind the scenes of when I had that job, and it was also during that time, as you all know, when I was building my art portfolio. So it was a lot of stress, a lot of late nights, and those late nights consisted of me going to a place that I just didn't like. I felt very miserable and just unfulfilled. As time has went on, I'm gonna give context, a little bit of story time as to, I guess you could say, how I got fired. Really, I wasn't fired. I was a temp at my first job. Initially, right? Because I was so grateful and just, I don't know, happy that I got this job because of, other things that were motivators for me to have it. I was like, I'm gonna work so hard and do my best at this place so that I can stay here and not be a temp, because I'm so scared that I won't be able to find another job, because it took me so long and so many months, and over the summer, a lot, everything. Fast forward, at some point early in my time being there, I remember my manager, this was before he really showed me his true colors. But I remember he pulled me to the side when I was asking him, about what's my expectancy, my time and stuff here. But when I was talking to him about it, he was like, but yeah, you don't need to worry. I plan on keeping you. You're doing a great job. Gassing me up. So I had kept that to mind. Now, I didn't think that it was a guaranteed thing, but I definitely think that helped with some type of confidence or security, that I was going to be okay. Until this is where ish hits the fan. My boss was becoming more like a tyrant, and he became unbearable to work with after a while. And over time, when I would talk to my other co-workers and things, some of whom were very messy, so I was really picking and choosing which stories I wanted to really believe or necessarily hear, because I'm like, oh, you seem like one of those types of people who are very much involved in drama or kind of got that, misery loves company type of feel, so I'm cool off that. But they actually weren't wrong. There was this time which really set it off, and the reason why I even have this video here. I remember I gave him specific hours over the summer of what I'd be able to work over the summer and what I would be able to do. How I'd be available at work when the school year comes. Everything was cool when I had shared that until his boss had confronted him about it. It's not like he approached the situation in an appropriate manner. Despite the hours and how Maryland laws and stuff work or not, I told him my time and the time that my parents were okay with me working and stuff during the school year. He had told me that the Maryland law, like, he was showing me the thing how it's not applicable anymore, and how he was being nice to me and my little friends. The little friends that he's referring to are other young women who were my age, that also were our high schoolers, and we left at the same time because we figured the whole us being minors things, and just with the fact that we have school, and that was something that was respected, and I made sure I made that very clear up front before I got hired and all of that. So I was just kind of confused. So I respected the Maryland part, and like, okay, we could work up to 10 o'clock, but I told you I can't do that. That's not something that I can do. And he didn't like that. He said, you, Monday through Thursday, you can leave at 8 o'clock, but come Friday and Saturday, you are staying till 9 to 10 o'clock. And I was like, you know what? Okay, respect. Because around this time, this is when Christmas and everything else was coming up. I just figured I'd go ahead and try to get more hours anyway. So even though it bothered me because of how he approached it in a nasty way, I still just was like, you know what? It still can kind of work out in my favor, because I was going to ask about staying a little bit longer anyway. But nevertheless, here comes the time. It's a Thursday night. This was around Christmas season. So it's a Thursday night. Remember what I just told you. This man said Monday through Thursday you can leave at 8 o'clock. I already clocked out. I got my coat on. I got my bag. I'm ready to go. My ride is outside of that. This man literally tries to stop me from leaving the store and got in my way, and he's like, where are you going? I said, I'm leaving. It's 8 o'clock. He said, no, I told you to stay here till 9 o'clock. I said, no, you didn't, Ty. Today's Thursday. It's a weekday. Use your words exactly, where Monday through Thursday, I can leave at 8 o'clock. And he was like, no, I never told you that. I never said this and that. Da, 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 da. And I was like, oh, so now we're saying that I'm lying. I'm storytelling, as the old folks would say. I'm storytelling. Like, you know when you could tell when somebody's lying? Like, you know, you tell them the truth, and it's like something either in their eyes or whatever. It's a very intricate realization that they have that, like, this person's telling the truth, but I'm gonna proceed with lying. It was like that. So I just said F it, and I walked out of the store. And he followed me out of the store, saying, you know, when the season comes, when the end of the season comes, you're going to be one of the first people to leave. Bye, bye, bye. Like, all and next to my ear, like, face, all of that, like, telling me bye and stuff as I'm walking out. And I couldn't give no F's. Like, I just couldn't. Because what? And by this time, I was already looking for another job, because I literally was just becoming way too miserable. Come January, even though I'm ready to go and I'm excited for this termination, because first of all, I was contemplating on just going ahead and quitting. But I was like, you know what? There's no definite deadline. There's something about January, maybe February. I'm just going to try to work my butt off until the end, like till the wheels fall off. And I noticed my hours were getting shorter, less days. And I'm like, I'm not stupid, bro. Like, I know that what's happening here. But because you're not being direct about it or saying anything, like, I just figured I'd go ahead and ask. And I remember when I asked about my hours, he cut me off while walking away and said, no, those are those exact hours. And I'm not changing them. And I don't think he noticed, but I saw him literally laughing while walking away as I asked that question. It's just like, yeah, I'm ready to go. So I just pushed through, talked to God and prayed to God about it. It was just so many things that I was just talking to God about and wanting to figure out, like, how to just leave, because I also didn't want it wouldn't be on my record, but on my ego, my pride's record, that I got fired from a freaking arts and crafts store. It's like, nah, like, I'm gonna quit from the arts and crafts store. Like, you're not gonna say you fired me. Like, you know, so it's just like, let's calm down. Let's kind of calibrate and just play it out. And that's exactly what happened. And I kid you not, And this is also after talking to my great-grandfather too. Shout out to Pops. Love Pops dearly. That same day when I was talking to my grandfather, and I think this was a Thursday too, and just praying to God about me leaving and when my time is going to be up. I kid you not, after I clocked in, I'm heading up to the front to go to my register. My manager pulls me over to the side and says, with a smile on his face. And it's okay, because I also was trying my hardest to not smile and laugh during this whole entire thing. Hey, so we're on my other iPhone. Storage issues as I expected from the other one, but it's okay. I was really elated to hear that it was my last day. First of all, after he told me that, I immediately texted my mom, and she's like, yes, like you definitely should grab yourself a matcha or something like that. And I said, you know, that doesn't sound too shabby, mother. So I happily treated myself to a matcha after my shift, and I had ordered myself some Jinya ramen bar. Now that we're out of the celebratory phase, here comes the scarcity mindset that I'm having about finding another job. And this is where a lot of praying and faith came into play. I felt like with me trying to look for different jobs, take different opportunities to, you know, find places that were accepting applications, it was just like, Lord, what do you want me to do? What am I supposed to do here? What are you doing here? Like, you know, it was a lot of internal conflict that I was having. I was so confused, and I was back to feeling how I felt over the summer with trying to find a job before the school year started, and I just felt like there was no hope for me until I had applied to work at this restaurant. Now, I went in there, made a great first impression, I feel like, with my very charismatic, hi, my name is Taylor, how are you? And you know, doing all of that stuff. I immediately, that same day when they told me to go ahead and apply, I applied. And one of the people who worked there, he was like, oh, I mean, you probably hear back from them in like a week or 3 days. You know, it's pretty cool working here. The management is all right. Like, the pay is good. Maybe you should apply for this position and da-da-da-da. Like, I don't know, but I hope you get it. All of these, like, great things. So I would say in this situation, I kind of took his word for that week or 3 days, because I didn't have an exact deadline for me to get a job, but I definitely was like, no, I need it expeditiously. And this is all in the month of January. Guys, so much has literally happened in January. Well, to me, it feels like so much has happened, but so much has happened in January. So this is like 2 to 3 weeks after I got fired. I got fired from my other job that I applied to this job to be a server or hostess, and you know, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take brother's word and we gonna wait for these 3 days. I waited the 3 days, see nothing. A week comes by, I see nothing, and then I'm like, you know what, screw it, I'm going in there. So I told my aunt, I was like, you know what, I want to go up to the restaurant and see what's the status of my application. So I go in there with the mindset of rejection, but also trying to have the spirits of rejection is redirection, and it still is. It is, but I was kind of faking it, because the whole time I was just thinking they're gonna reject me, they're gonna say that it's still in process, and they're gonna ignore me, and then they're just gonna da-da-da-da. And I entered in there, I got over it. I was like asking the host, it's like, hey, I wanted to check in and see the status of my application. The host says, oh, okay, do you have an interview today? So I paused, and because I was like, I thought I asked about the status of my application, I decided to repeat it, which to y'all could already seem dumb, because like, Taylor, hello? So I repeated myself. I said, no, I'm here to check the status of my application. And he repeats it again and says, do you have an interview today? When I tell you, this is what God told me to do in this moment. He told me to seize it. So I was like, you know what? Yes, I do have an interview today for the server position. And he said, okay, I'm going to call the manager. We'll be right with you right away. Not one time did I tell y'all that I had an interview. Not one time. I didn't get no call back, no email, nothing. Nada. And I get asked if there was an interview today. When I tell y'all, for The Office fans, because this is what I was referencing when I told my mom about the story, I literally felt like Pam in that one season. It was that episode, I can't remember if it was season 7 or 8, but they were talking about the office administrator position and how much an office administrator can usually make a year. And Pam just took the initiative. That's what it really was. And that's one of the biggest things I feel like we all, because not only is this video for, people I feel like who's going through the same thing or share it too. This is definitely for me to reflect back on many times, but she took the initiative. Somebody called Dunder Mifflin and they were looking for, office admin, and nobody answered. But Pam just sat in her chair and she said, you know what? I am the office administrator. Babes, who? So, but anyways, because go off. And she did go off, rightfully so. She got on the phone, did what she needed to do, and then her and Gabe have a meeting. This is where stuff looked like it was going to hit the fan. But Pam played it so cool, bro, because when Gabe was talking about I'm looking through the records and all the files, and I don't see anything about you being registered as an office administrator. And when Pam was like, oh, they probably lost it in there, Gabe caught onto her bluff. You know how in the movies, like when it's like two cowboys and they had like the cinema, it just goes like straight to like that on her eyes, like that's what it felt like. When Gabe was pressuring her, she started to reverse it and was basically like, Gabe, say that I'm lying, because he didn't want to say it. Even though his intentions and what he's trying to indicate, he didn't directly say that she was lying. So Pam caught on to his weakness because he's like a people pleaser. He don't want to be in no way. So she's like, Gabe, say that I'm lying about being the office administrator, or say that I got the position. This was like, it's happened like 2 or 3 times I heard repeating it. And she called his bluff. They shook hands, and that is how Pam became office administrator of Dunder Mifflin. How does this apply to me? Because I took that interview knowing I didn't have one, and I freaking got hired on the spot. And I became a server at this restaurant. You see the correlation? The interview went great. I was really nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if? Remember the moment with Pam and the files? I was like, what if they check the system and see that Taylor is nowhere near in that file or registered to have an interview with so-and-so's manager? What if that happens? But I was just like, nah, be cool. You here now. You took the initiative. I also was just thinking about like how, this is God's doing. He wants me here. This is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna follow through with this, because what the actual heck? I just can't see how, from my own anxiety and worry and self-doubt, that I could have really gotten a job had I not just surrender my pride and my worries and woes to God and really talk to him about it while actively working, because faith without work doesn't mean anything. It's no different than with people in manifestation. When you're manifesting something, you're also doing actions in order to make that manifestation happen. So it just something like a moment like that I could never forget. And I'm sure there's gonna be so many more times in life, because God is already showing me, but like there's gonna be more times in life, I guarantee you, that I'm just gonna be like, wow, this is really all you, Lord. Like, this is crazy. So I feel like that's something you should take right there. Just have faith, but work through the fire. Last Sunday, we were talking about the series. My church has a series that we go through. It was talking about, how the Lord wants you to go through a fire. Now, to anybody, that doesn't sound at all, because it's like, what do you mean you want me to go through a fire? But when you listen to the message and what he's trying to say, it's like, oh, that makes sense, because God isn't just gonna have you go through a fire, or whoever your higher source of being is. They're not just gonna let you go through a fire and not be with you throughout the whole entire process. Like, they're not going to be on the other side waiting for you and let you struggle and crumble and fall and try to get up. No, they're with you throughout the whole entire way. That's how God is with you. That's how God has been with me. I have been through a lot, I feel like, as a teenager transitioning into a young woman, and just my own testimony of sharing on the internet how I no longer felt like I was worth living, and I feel like I had no purpose. Just for God to, I feel like, honestly save me and just show me bit by bit, even through little hiccups that I have in life, that I'm still here on this earth and waking up each and every single day with a purpose and for a reason, by the grace of him. To kind of continue where I left off with my relationship with God and the things I was talking about that's happened so far in January, I think it's now time to share some of those great things that's happened so far in January. So let's get into it. If you follow me on Instagram, if you don't, I think that you definitely should. I'm more active on there than I am on here sometimes. So if you want to see little intricate parts of my life and stuff of that nature, this is my ad. So definitely follow me. It's fun over there. If you may or may not know, but in January, I went to this workshop. It was like a flower event where we created this. It's called the Forever Flowers event. And we basically just made flowers out of pipe cleaners. I'm gonna show you mine right here. I put it on these really cute ceramic boots that I thrifted a couple years ago, because deep down I'm a cowgirl, but that's besides the point. Anyways, this is my forever flower that I made out of pipe cleaners. So cute. I'm actually really proud of myself because I was struggling at first, but the whole thing as to why I even went was because one of my favorite artists, her name is Mary. Yes, this is a great time for me to go do this and spend time with my mom and this and that. But even my mom is basically like what Marjorie called my PR manager. Especially most of the artists I've met so far, they're like, this is your PR manager. Like, my mom is like my business coach, all of that. So she's like, what are you hoping to leave from this? What do you want to leave with after this event? I said, an opportunity, potential networking. And it happened. I remember me and my mom, we sat at this table because it was really packed when we got there. So we had to sit in the back, but we eventually got some seats. And we were sitting across this black lady who had spoke to me. I wanted to say, what's crazy was, I actually wanted to say something because I really liked whatever she was wearing, and I wanted to compliment her on it, but I was kind of too nervous, and I just so many things were running in my mind, because I know that my goal that night was to leave with again, an opportunity of some sort. So I was just thinking about ways of how I can just talk to Marjorie herself, and I don't know, just a lot of things are running amok in my mind at this time. And I remember, after just contemplating whether or not I should say something to this lady, the lady, she actually spoke to me and she said, oh my gosh, I really like your outfit and your grills. Yes, y'all, I wore my grills because what? she started complimenting on that, and we just started talking, and somehow naturally in the conversation I was just talking about how I'm 18, I'm a young up and coming artist. I told her about my mission, the school that I'm going to. I'm not telling you guys just yet, you guys will find out real soon. But and just me trying to find an internship. I'm trying to find things that are more aligning with what I want to do as an artist in the industry and like make it up there. And tell me why, after I said that, this lady, smiling ear to ear, she said, this is crazy because I work at so-and-so's gallery and we've actually been looking for interns. I started asking her, you know, like, how can I get the contact information of the CEO there, and she gave me her personal info. We exchanged contact. She shared with me the CEO's name and email, and we talked about, you know, her sending me an application and proceeding from there. Which is just like, guys, do we not see how God is already blessing me? Like, come on now, like, that was crazy. So then that was great. That was a really big highlight and win for me that night, until, you know, God just had to do his thing in there where I was able to have a one-on-one conversation with Majourney. Me and my mom, we were helped clean up the place, and that's nothing performative at that. Like, we just feel like it's decency, and that's how I was raised. That kind of helped, you know, and also can give a little bit of brownie points. So it all just kind of worked out. I can't even lie. But I was able to talk to Majourney, and I was sharing with her the same thing I was telling with the other lady, and I got to show her, I want to say, one of my art pieces, and she was like in awe of it. And my mom, because I was so nervous and didn't know what to say, my mom also threw in there how I had got I can't share this part just yet, but how I got accepted into a specific art school. We'll say that, because I didn't forget about that. I'm gonna make a video on that stuff really, really soon. But I got accepted into the same art school that she went to, and she was just like, OMG, like, no way, congratulations. Like, you know, it was all of that connection. So then that's when we started talking about, or I was telling her, like, I was like, hey, you know, I really admire your work, and I just want to say, if you ever need help with any projects or anything like that, it would be an honor to help assist you with those or shadow you, anything in that nature. And we also exchanged contact. I was elated that night. I was so happy. And we also went to a really, really bomb vegan restaurant too, and it's now our go-to. I just couldn't believe it. And this is all in a month. This is all in January. So fast forward, tell me why I got the internship. I got the internship, like, OMG. And just to even solidify even more for me as to why I'm so proud of myself and, you know, happy about this, is because since I'm 18 and I'm so young still, and I have no type of quote unquote college experience that, you know, galleries like the Smithsonian is looking for, it's a immediate, you know, turn off to places like that when you're applying to these internships and you don't have 4 years of working in, I don't know, art history, and you're trying to be an art curator intern. You know, it's stuff like that that's just like, nah, you gotta wait. And it's just like, dang, that really sucks. And I just felt so hard on myself when, like, I was getting rejected, but little did I know it was legitimate redirection. So far already, I have a pretty good paying job, now an internship on my belt, and I'm also gonna be working with Majourney really soon on a pretty big project of hers, and I'm so happy. That same day that I had the call about the internship, me and Majourney called, and talk to each other. She asked me what I wanted to gain out of this, and if I want this to be like an internship or a project to project basis. And I told her I would like to do a project to project basis because I just got accepted for an internship at the gallery. And I was like, I think you follow them. This is what their Instagram and all that stuff is. And she's like, wait, that gallery with Miss, so-and-so there? OMG, Taylor, that's crazy, because I'm actually going to be having an event and working up there in the gallery, and I was going to call you soon anyway so that we could work on it and to see if you want to work on it. And she just, after that, like, was just in awe and super excited. She said, wow, this is crazy because it's like the stars are aligning. And while she said that, my immediate thought was God, because what do you mean I got an internship at this gallery? I'm also an events assistant, so I'm gonna learn all the things of like installations, talking with other artists and networking, because I told the CEO I would love to do that because I'm also an artist myself and want to get more insight on these things from other people. And just learning how to budget, all of those things, all the stuff that one day I'll be sitting in front of my camera in my loft apartment, sharing with you guys how I'm about to have my first exhibition and about to go install big old statues and stuff in my work. This is what this is gonna be leading up to. And I just thought it was crazy, because she's absolutely right. The stars are aligning, but this is also, as we see, this is literally God. I always think about any time when moments like these in life happen, that quote, I'm pretty sure I can find it on Pinterest, so I'll put it here. But when Lauryn Hill said that without God I'm inadequate, I think those were really my big points. And also a little life update, because I know I have not been on here for a bit. Kind of intentional but unintentional. I've actually been going through some stuff with my laptop, so I haven't really been able to, work as efficiently. But that's okay, because we are in the works with getting a new laptop very soon, and a lot of other great things are going to be happening that I cannot wait to share with you all. I'm just very excited. Also try to make sure too, when these things happen like this, because I know just a few days ago I felt horrible, and I think I was about to TMI, but I was about to come on that time of the month, so my confidence and everything goes away. It goes straight out the door, and I'm very critical. Like, I'm already critical, but just thinking about it times 10 while you're transitioning to 5 days of torture. So yeah, but I just felt like I was a failure. I felt like anything that I was doing wasn't didn't matter, because I felt like I've tried to do this way with, for instance, my health, and I'm not seeing the results. Or I tried to do this art piece, but it didn't come out the way I envisioned it. So it's like, what is even the point? I'm trying to get monetized on YouTube and figure out what to do with content, this and that, but I just don't have this creative drive right now. And it's like, what's the point? But it's like, no, because I was telling my mom, I just said I wish that there was really a balance and not so much of this, uncertainty, sadness, and anger. But she brought me right back down to reality. It was like, wouldn't you not count what happened to you a couple weeks ago as that balance? Because I think sometimes you mistaken life for being something that's supposed to be easy, and it's not. And I think if she said that, part of me wanted to be like, oh no, of course I don't think life is supposed to be easy. And I might have even said it, but I'm not gonna lie, I think sometimes I do. I think we all do, because it's just so much stuff that happens in the world that you're just like if things were different, it just wouldn't have to be this way. Like, it shouldn't be this way. We shouldn't have genocides or wars going on. Things like that. I think is where that easy or naivete not mindset can come in for me. So yeah, and that's quite frankly why yin and yang is a thing. But I really had to reflect with that when she said it and not really take it to heart, because, and it's okay too to think that, but you shouldn't always act on that either, because that can cause distortion. As long as you keep working on yourself, your art, your business, your relationships, and I don't know, any other things that you care about, and you know the Lord sees it, I feel like you're bound to abundance or greatness, because there's faith. You're persevering despite whatever you're going through, and through that perseverance you know that there is some form of guidance there. I myself, and those who kind of go through the same thing like me, we just shouldn't take things like all the stuff that I mentioned to you for granted. And with that, to also expect the devil or even yourself, because we can, you know, it's not always the devil, it's really sometimes ourselves too that be our own hindrance to our process of, you know, our pathway to success essentially. But just know that there's always going to be something to tempt you or derail you from your journey. I say this to say, with everything that I've mentioned in this video, that it's not about how you fall. It's about how you get back up and what you do once you get back up. Because you could fall, could get right back up. You could go through the same thing again that you know that it's not gonna be any benefit to you, and fall right back again. And focus on how you fell, opposed to focusing on how you can elevate yourself and move forward. I think if I continue to have a woe is me mindset, after I had got let go from my job and really didn't put in a lot of work into it, despite certain things being last minute of me but looking for jobs, I just don't think that a lot of things would have played out the way that they are right now. So yeah, so I would just say it one more time for the people in the back who didn't hear me. It is not about how you fail, but it is about how you get back up and how you proceed once you get back up. Thank you so much for listening to my TED Talk. I appreciate you for being here, and until then, I'll see you next time.